What's up guys, my name's Liam, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the most anticipated gaming mouse pads of the year, the 4114 Aero. This has been spotted out in the wild, being used in various professional tournaments, but nobody's been able to identify what it is until now. So is this going to be the perfect gaming mouse pad for you? Let's check it out. And before we get started, I did want to let you guys know this was sent out to me by 4114. However, everything you're going to be seeing in this video today is going to be my own words, my own opinions. They really didn't skip any of the details when it comes to its design. This arrived to my front door in this flat package box. They even have tape with their logo on it. And here's a sleeve that does come included in the box. So nice and easy to store if you needed to do so without having to worry about damaging it. When picking this up, you're going to have two options. The first is going to be this Roman head, which I feel like is just absolutely iconic, and I personally love the look of it. But if you're not a fan, they're also going to have a pattern style surface as well. They are using all premium materials here. They didn't take any shortcuts. The bottom consists of this hexagon style Poron base, and it sticks to my desk nicely. No issues with it moving around or sliding around on me. The stitching looks incredibly premium, and it does sit below the surface. And though this is using a 4mm base, there is some plushness to it. It doesn't feel as plush as the Artisan xSoft at 4mm. It's got a little bit more firmness to it, which is a good thing for me. It feels a little bit more consistent, and you don't get as much of that sinking feeling. The artwork looks incredibly sharp and detailed, and they even have their logo down here in the bottom right corner, but it is not raised up at all on the surface, so you can use your mouse over it without having to worry about it sticking up or interfering with your performance at all. The surface consists of a twill polyester spandex, and it feels incredibly smooth, but there is a texture to it. So I'll go ahead and do a sound test of rubbing my finger across the X and Y axis so you get an idea of what that's like. So as you can tell by the sound, there's a bit of texture there, but as I was using this, I didn't find that it felt very abrasive to my forearm, and it didn't bother me at all. To me, this definitely performs like a speed pad. You do have very minimal static friction when you're doing the micro adjustments, but with that texture, I do feel like it gives you quite a bit more control than other typical speed pads. And the entire time I was using this, I never once felt like it was too slippery or too fast. So you actually do get a really great sense of control. And the same thing goes for the dynamic friction. As you're sliding across the pad, as you can see there, it's pretty quick. To me, this doesn't feel like it's too fast or I ever feel like I'm losing control. You get a really good sense of direction with your glide. And the more that you apply weight on top of your mouse and press into it, you do get a greater sense of stopping power and control. The surface that they're using is also humidity resistant, and I have been using it in a high humidity environment, and it's been incredibly consistent for me. One common trait that I've found in other spandex surface mouse pads out there on the market is that when it does get humid, it does tend to slow it down. So it was a nice touch to be able to use this and to not notice it getting impacted. And I have been testing the surface out with various types of skates. I do feel like I do prefer the PTFE skates even over the glass or the sapphire skates. If you do have these bigger style skates, you do get a little bit more initial static friction and a little bit more dynamic friction, so a little bit slower of a glide. And if you were to use corner skates or even the dot skates, the smaller the skates get, the faster the glide and performance goes on the surface with less static and dynamic friction. So as I've been testing this against various pads on the market to kind of give you an idea on where it sits in line with its overall performance, all my testing was done using the Logitech G Pro Superlight 2, and these are the Tiger Ice V2 skates. All right, so first up, when comparing it to the Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn Pro, when it comes to the overall speed of comparing both of these, the Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn Pro is definitely a little bit slower. This does feel like a faster pad, but when you come down into the micro adjustments, there is a little bit more of tugging going back and forth over here on the Saturn Pro. So I'd definitely say that the Aero is a step above the Saturn Pro in terms of overall speed. So let's go ahead and drop a speed comparison between the Saturn Pro and the Aero. All right, and finally, when comparing the Lamzu Energon versus the 4114 Aero. For those of you that watch the channel know that the Lamzu Energon is my current main, and the performance of these two, they're actually pretty similar to one another, but there are some slight differences. The surface of the Energon, it does feel quite a bit smoother, where again on the Aero you do have a slight bit more of texture, and the difference that separates both of these is with the smoothness on the Energon, I do feel like it feels a bit more slippery. So when you're doing the micro adjustments coming back and forth, there is a little bit less of the static friction there. And when it comes to the dynamic friction, they do feel really similar to one another, but the one thing about this 4114 Aero, you do get a greater sense of control. And even though the speed on the surface of both of these feels almost nearly identical, the fact that this uses a humidity resistant surface, I've been getting a lot of consistency out of it. Alright guys, so that about wraps things up on the 4114 Aero Speed Pad. Ever since I've taken this out of the box and placed it on my desk, I'm just really impressed with how great the performance feels to me. So if you have any questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching this video and you're interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.